Like you'd be top tier. You'd be in this upper echelon of trading.
What's going on, everyone? It's Nux Trading here. Just gonna be running through my model today, giving some insight on what I'm looking for and breaking down the model a little bit. So just a little backstory on the model here. So I've been kind of trading ICT concepts for about 6 months now, and I always hear people talk about like, hey, you gotta find your model in order to be successful. Never really knew what that meant. I was kind of just trading the 2022 model and wasn't really having a ton of success when it comes to the 2022 model. I felt like I was always getting in and then getting stopped out before the actual move would happen. So we'd have one more liquidity raid, and that would raid me. So that's kind of what drove me to maybe look into a better model. So something that I've kind of been researching and came up with is the idea of using the 5 minute. So I'm gonna go on and break down what exactly this model is. So the first thing we're going to look for is we're actually looking for a previous session high or low read. And within that, the session times that I use are, and this is all UTC4. So 0 to 8 a.m. New York, 8 a.m. to 1300 New York, and 1300 to 00. So a little side note there. Next thing I'm going to be looking for is once we get that raid, I'll look for a fair value gap plus displacement in the opposite direction that the raid occurred. So if I'm looking, or if the raid occurs and we take out the high, I'll look for a fair value gap and displacement below. Next thing I'll look for is a some sort of market structure shift. We don't have to have a market structure shift just because this model is a scalping model where we're looking for 5 handles most of the time. We can take it and it does go more than 5 handles sometimes, but typically we're looking at just taking the 5 handles because right now on the 5 handles we have an 80% win rate when taking these and hitting 5 handles. So if you think about it, you're taking 10 trades, you're winning 8 of those trades. So that's kind of the model that we're working with. So I'll go in and show you just kind of how I set up the charts. So today, as you can see, we got 0 here. So if I was going to set this up, I'd look for the high between 0 and 8 o'clock. So the high occurred right here at 2:05 a.m. So then the low occurs, the low is put in right here. And for me personally, I like this model because I don't have to be in front of the charts 100% of the time. So I can kind of just set alerts. So I can set an alert right here, set an alert, and then boom. If it takes out the high, then I know I got to start looking at the charts and seeing if it's time for maybe the model to appear. So as you can see, we move into 8 o'clock here, and then we mark out the 1300. So this is all New York AM session for me. So once we take this low, this previous session low, this overnight low here, I'm looking to long in here. And as you can see, we don't really get any long setups anywhere in this down move. So this helps you from losing money and getting in and getting stopped out too early, right? And as you can see, I'm sure you saw a lot of people on Twitter hit this 3 minute trade today, or maybe it was lower. Yeah, this one right here. So a lot of people hit this trade today, and I do have some people in my Discord who use the model and they use lower time frames to trade this. But personally, I like to just stick on the 5 minute just because I don't want to be glued to the chart. So the people who trade the 3 minute off of my model made money today. But if we go back to the 5 minute, had a limit order set here, just like this, in this fair value gap right here. So obey stop rules right there. So as you can see, this big down wick got me one tick away from a fill today. One tick, one tick away. So that's the kind of stuff that happens sometimes, but that's the price you pay for taking a model that wins 80% of the time. So you get less trades, but you get more or higher win percentage. So um, that's what the model would have been today. So we would have taken this, and as you can see, we definitely would have got five handles. And if you do have runners, you would have made all the way up until almost 25 handles today if this was a filled. So that's one thing, or that was the model when it appeared today. Unfortunately, we didn't get the fill on the model. One thing I do want to mention is with this model, you're going to have larger stop losses because you're playing on a bigger time frame. So sometimes your stop losses may be five handles, six handles, which is okay because you're going for five handles every single time and you're winning 80% of the time. So you have I mean, at the minimum, you have a 1-to-1 RR and you're winning 80% of the time. So you have two losers. So I want to go back. I'll go back to yesterday, and yesterday was a great day for the model. So we'll go in to the high, put in right here, low, put in technically right here. So as you can see, this is the low here, rated there. I'll zoom in even closer. Low, raid, and then we have for value gap here. Boom. Starts that nice rally we get early in the morning right here from New York AM session. Leads us all the way up to the previous session high. So a lot of times a good target if you do have runners is the previous session high. So 19.5 handles right there with a stop at only three handles right there. So that was a great trade that we took yesterday. Ended up making good money from that. So that was a good one. Also, so once we hit this previous session high and we're all at here, this is when we're actually going to start looking for a short because we hit the previous session high. So we look for the model to be a short. So it's interesting because you can actually have two entries and two models in the same session, which doesn't happen often, but it does happen. So yesterday we had the model come here, we have fair value gap here, and we also have a fair value gap here. So this wouldn't have been an A plus entry by any means, just because we're not filling fully in discount. So at that time, the price leg would have been here. So as you can see, we don't fill all the way up the discount. So we would have liked to have this fill somewhere up in this area, or my bad, premium because we're shorting. So we would have rather had the short up here in premium somewhere, but unfortunately we don't get that. So if you like the pyramid entry, it's sometimes it's good to take a partial entry here at this first fair value gap, and then a second partial entry here, with our stop loss being up here. So we have when you shorted this, stop loss probably would have been 4.5 handles right there. And you would have made, as you can see, that five handles. Delivered this five handles. So there was the model yesterday, two of the models yesterday. And then for the afternoon session yesterday, I'm not sure if we had any entries. I was away from the charts, but we'll go on and just see. So no entries at the low, and it doesn't look like we got any entries at the high yesterday. No, so as you can see, this just would have been a session that I wouldn't have traded because the model did not present itself. So we don't take out the high or we don't take out the low. So I'm off the charts at this point. I have two trades, one delivering up to almost 20 handles, the other delivering around seven, 5 to 7. So it's a pretty good day for me. I'll take that. I'll go in and do one more example here. Let me go back. This was 4th of July. I'll go back to Friday when we had good volume. So Friday we have 8 a.m. So this is our low here. Never gets taken, but this is our high. So when we drill through this high right here, and Friday was a massive trend day. So um, when you get these trend days like that, you're not really going to get much of an opportunity to actually take the model unless you take the low out first if we're bullish on the trend day. So you're not really going to get much of a chance to take the model. But so I just wouldn't have taken anything long once we take this high because per the model, we're looking for a short entry and a short model for for the high taken. So we're driving up here, and what do you know? We get this entry right here, and the model presents itself. So yeah, that that short does come way higher than the previous session high, but let's see what we deliver. So we have a stop here of 5.5 hand or almost 5.5 handles, but we deliver 8 handles. So under 2 RR there, but again, you want better RR when you have a lower win rate, and if you have a higher win rate, then you at least want 1-to-1 RR so you can have a winner for every loser, but your win rate's more, so you're obviously going to win more. So this one, and I actually have a video on Twitter of this trade that I actually took right here. Video that's on Twitter. I worked through the model a little bit on there. So if you guys are interested in following the Twitter, I can go on and put that over here. So Twitter is Nux Trading. And yeah, that's gonna wrap it up today. I just wanted to get on here and talk through the model. I've been getting a lot of requests about that on Twitter recently. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any questions, reach out on Twitter. I have a Discord that's small, but or we got some pretty active people in there. People have been making really good money recently. So if you guys are interested in joining, don't hesitate to reach out. And as always, be safe, guys.